Hello, I'm Diana Essock, President of ASM, and I'd like to welcome you to ASM International's 2020 Virtual Awards presentation. Although we cannot be together in person this year, I am extremely honored to have this opportunity to recognize our peers and their accomplishments through this presentation. All of our 2020 award recipients are featured, and you will hear acceptance remarks from some of ASM's fellows and award recipients, including the ASM Materials Education Foundation's George A. Roberts Award recipient, Dr. Stephen M. Copley. You will also hear from ASM's Silver and Bronze awardees, the Bradley Stoughton Award for Young Teachers awardee, the Allan Ray Putnam Service awardee, and many others. We will conclude with acceptance remarks from ASM's Honorary Membership Award recipient, Dr. John P. Hirth. I want to thank you for your time, participation, and support of ASM International's award program, and look forward to being with you next year to make award presentations during IMAD 21 in St. Louis. Enjoy the presentations.
It's a pleasure and honor to receive the 2020 George A. Roberts Award. I joined ASM 50 years ago last January, having recently moved to Los Angeles from Connecticut, where I had worked for Pratt & Whitney Aircraft. I joined ASM to make friends and contacts in the Los Angeles and National Material Science communities. One of my many friends over the years was George Roberts. I was inspired by his dedication to exciting students and teachers about materials and applied science careers. As a recently hired faculty member at the University of Southern California, I became involved in the Los Angeles chapter's Student Affairs Committee. Several years later, I served as chapter chair when we won the Outstanding ASM Chapter Award. In 1990-91, I was president of ASM International. Starting November 1st, 1991, Jack Simon, Ed Langer, Randy Sisson, and I were co-principal investigators of Professionals as a Resource for Instructors of Science and Mathematics, PRISM, a $160,000 grant from the National Science Foundation to ASM International and the ASM Materials Education Foundation to support a 3-year project to assist 20 local chapters of ASM in forming long-term partnerships with their local schools and school districts. In 2011, I rejoined the foundation board and was chair when the foundation reached its Pick Up the Pace goal of holding 50 teachers camps per year. I'm now an emeritus trustee. 2020 has been a challenging year for the ASM Materials Education Foundation. I would like to congratulate the foundation board, staff, and the wonderful master teachers for the amazing resilience they have demonstrated in conducting 23 different camps, all virtual for the first time, attended by 658 teachers. 19 first-year teachers camps, including one in French, 2 advanced camps for teachers of material science courses, 1 teacher institute focusing on sustainability, and 1 camp for K-5 teachers. Concurrently, 3 weeks of virtual camps were conducted for 100 students from 21 states. Please contribute generously to the foundation in 2021. Working with the wonderful foundation people has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life. Thank you, ASM, for the opportunity and for this award.
This is Pierre-Emmanuel Abapera speaking from IRT M2P in France. I would like to acknowledge ASM International for awarding the Henry Marion Howe Medal to our paper focusing on in situ study of stress relaxation during aging of nickel-based superalloy forgings. I'm honored to receive this award for work that is the result of an international collaboration led by the University of Manchester in UK and Institut Max von Laue Paul Langevin in France, also supported by two other Newton research facilities, SNS Oak Ridge National Laboratory in USA and Ansto in Australia. I'm grateful to these institutions and to my former colleagues, Philip Withers, Anna Boradowska, Dongma, Thilo Perling, and Michael Brust, who co-authored this paper. Working with them was one of the most rewarding experiences in my young career. The result we published last year in Metallurgical and Materials Transaction A demonstrate the fantastic capability of Newton diffractometers to monitor the stress relaxation during heat treatment of large components. I hope the published data will contribute to validate more reliable process models to improve our understanding of physical phenomena involving materials heat treatment. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Abdallah Al-Said and I'm an assistant professor at the University of Guelph in Guelph, Ontario, Canada, and I am a recipient of the Bradley Stoughton Award for Young Teachers. I would first like to thank the selection committee for making me a recipient of this award, as well as those who helped prepare the nomination package, including previous supervisors, colleagues, as well as the many students. I know it is very time-consuming to select and prepare nomination package for an award such as this, so I'm very thankful for your time and effort. When I saw the list of previous recipients, I was very humbled because I see many of these material science and engineering educators as people who I admire and people who I try to emulate. I really also admire a lot of these previous recipients because I know they are excellent materials researchers as well. So I think as material science and materials engineering educators, we have a huge advantage in that we can bring concepts and theories that we talk about in class directly to our students. So I always enjoy bringing metallic, ceramic, and polymer samples to my students and demonstrating concepts like thermal conductivity, optical transparency, as well as elongation right in front of them. I first became involved in ASM when I was a Materials Advantage member, perhaps more than 10 years ago as an undergraduate student. And when I started to attend my local ASM chapter meetings, I quickly saw the benefit in the networking, learning about new topics, as well as just getting to know people within my community. So this interaction continued when I started to attend ASM conferences as a graduate student, as well as now as an assistant professor. Although we can't meet in person now, I look forward to seeing all of you in 2021 in St. Louis and hope to see you then. Thank you very much once again. Bye-bye.
I am deeply honored and grateful for receiving the Albert Easton White Distinguished Teacher Award from ASM International. During my 45 years as a professor at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, it has been a privilege and an honor to educate and mentor many undergraduate students, graduate students, and postdoctoral fellows, as well as younger colleagues. While each of them have their own individual talents and abilities, I have found that challenging them to apply their understanding of material science and engineering to real-world problems is the most effective way of promoting their professional growth. Sometimes they grumble at the difficulty of the exercise, but in the end, they always thank me when they're out working because they can solve problems that their peers cannot. Many of our students, especially those who come from small towns in Wisconsin, have had limited exposure to other cultures. Fortunately, because of my contacts, international contacts, I've been able to arrange for summer internships for our students in Asia and Europe. It has been very rewarding to witness their transformation of attitude from an initial trepidation to leaving home to one in which they are excited to explore their other international experiences when they return back to Madison. I've also been a strong advocate for participation in professional society activities. For many years, I've been the faculty advisor for our ASM Materials Advantage student chapter at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And I've served many years on the executive board of the ASM International Milwaukee chapter. I'm proud to report that as a result of my efforts, more than half of the executive board members of the ASM Milwaukee chapter are former graduates from University of Wisconsin in Madison. Moreover, I believe that I can claim the distinct honor that two of my former graduate students were concurrently president of ASM International, that is David Furrer, and TMS, James Foley. Another former graduate student, Dan Toma, was president of TMS. Overall, I must acknowledge that the love and support of my wife, Kathleen, and my daughters, Anne, Kate, Elizabeth, without that support, I would have never been successful as a professor. And I thank you again for this honor and distinction.
I am both very proud and very humbled to receive this year's Allan Putnam Award. Thinking back on joining the American Society for Metals, as it was known then, nearly 60 years ago, I never dreamed that my involvement would last this long, being as rewarding as it has been, or it would expose me to as many knowledgeable and accomplished people as it has. That includes people both throughout the multiple industries which make up our membership and the staff at Materials Park, my age is showing. I believe that you get back what you contribute to most endeavors, and that of course includes your family and your career. But it also includes your community and your other affiliations, be they technical, civil, or religious. With all the distractions that exist, it's all too easy to avoid commitment. But the road less traveled will be the most rewarding in the end, and it is well worth your efforts. ASM International offers you the opportunity to interact with the premier minds in the materials industry, either directly or indirectly. You will have fingertip or keyboard or mouse click access to the greatest compilation of information in the field. If you work with the many committees and areas of specific interest that ASM has to offer, you will be exposed to the latest thoughts and most skilled people in your area of expertise, or in your quest to attain new knowledge. And you'll find that most of them are great individuals on a personal level. Again, this is one of the highest points in my societal career, and I am profoundly thankful to my nominators and to the selection committee.
Hello, my name is Wojtek Misiołek, and I'm with the Materials Science and Engineering Department at Lehigh University in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I have been recognized with William Hunt Eisenman Award in 2020. This is a big honor for me, and I would like to acknowledge people who helped me to achieve this recognition. First of all, I would like to recognize and thank my colleagues from the ASM Lehigh chapter who nominated me for this award. Also, I would like to thank the award committee, ASM Award Committee, for recognizing work in academia, which is rather unusual. And they recognized that our efforts, both educational and in applied research, were relevant to the industrial practice. Of course, I have to thank people who did most of the work, which are my past and present graduate and undergraduate students from both material science and engineering and mechanical engineering and mechanics department at Lehigh. But I also would like to thank visiting scientists who very often work with us, and we usually have 2 or 3 of them in a group, because with their help we were able to address jointly the industrial challenges in our studies. At the end, I would also like to recognize and thank colleagues from industry and national labs who very often came up with the good ideas and challenged me and inspired me to do this kind of work, and we worked together and we had these successes together, and we need to share it. So thank you all of you for collaboration, and thank you for the support. And of course, I had the support all the time at home from my wife and children, and I want to recognize them as well. So thanks again, all the best.
Good evening. I'd like to thank ASM for this distinct honor of selecting me to receive the 2020 Albert Sawyer Achievement Award. I feel privileged to be among a select group of technologists and academics to be considered for this award. I'm grateful to the nominators, especially my mentor, Professor Herman, and my peers within the materials community for recognizing our work. As I often advise my students and postdocs, the fruits of one's labor takes decades to be realized. Our group especially has been persistent to bring much needed science into coatings and thermal spray, and vice versa. We've strived to share the virtues of these non-traditional materials technologies to the general materials communities. Needless to say, my work was influenced by many people both in academia and industry, and of course none of our successes are possible without the dedication and hard work of motivated students, postdocs, national and international collaborators. I accept this award on their behalf. Lastly, I do want to acknowledge the support I've and continue to receive from my family, my wife Radha and my son Anish and my daughter Aditi, who've stood by me during successes and challenges. I also wish to thank my parents and for their support of my career. I look forward to continued contributions to the world of materials, coatings, and thermal spray in the years to come.
This is Dan Grice, one of the 2020 ASM International Bronze Medal Award recipients. I'd like to thank ASM International for this recognition, and I'd like to thank the Failure Analysis Society for nominating me for this award. It's a tremendous honor, and I'm very excited to be receiving this award. I'd like to recognize my colleagues in the 2020 ASM Awards class. Some fantastic contributions to the society and to the profession in this group of people. And special recognition to Dr. John Parapesco, this year's Distinguished Teacher Award winner, who's the individual who introduced me to ASM International during my undergraduate career at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. So it's really exciting for me to be recognized with Dr. Parapesco this year. I'd like to thank just a handful of people who I worked with so far in my career who've really helped me contribute to ASM International. Kevin Anderson at Mercury Marine really introduced me to some of the networking tools that have been really valuable to me throughout my career, and Kevin may not even realize how important one conversation I had with him during my time at Mercury Marine was. But I'd love to tell a longer version of that story to students, and I will tell it at every opportunity. I'd like to thank Neil Burns, George Wildridge, and Ron Parrington, who really supported my involvement in the Emerging Professionals Committee during my time at IMR Test Labs. And I'd like to thank Larry Hankey for his continued support of my involvement in ASM International, now through the Failure Analysis Society. I'd like to thank my colleagues who I served on the Emerging Professionals Committee with, to whom I owe the existence of this award, and many other great programs that we developed for emerging professionals. I'd like to thank ASM staff liaisons, who I've worked with several over the years, and they've been great support for me for my contributions to ASM International. And I'd like to thank all my colleagues in the Failure Analysis Society, who have been valuable colleagues and friends over the last 10 years. The last thing I want to say in this is I really look forward to getting together again with all of you in 2021 in St. Louis to accept this award in person next year, and I can't wait until we can get together again. Thank you again, ASM International, for the recognition and for everything you've done for me in my career so far. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Veronique Vitry. I'm an associate professor at the University of Mons in Belgium. I teach metallurgy, and I'm very happy to speak to you today because I'm of the 2020 awardees of the ASM Silver Medal. I'm a materials engineering by trade, and I've always studied surface treatments. Surface treatments is not one of the most sexy fields in materials engineering, and electrochemical surface treatments, which I study mainly electroless nickel plating, are even less sexy than the rest of the field. I'm fascinated by surface treatment, by materials, by making materials better, stronger, by making things better for people. And I'm also fascinated by science in all shapes and forms. So I really like sharing that knowledge with people. And I couldn't be more happy when I learned that ASM recognized me for, in part, making the electroplating and electroless plating field more proficient, more efficient, and more sustainable, but also in part for sharing my knowledge. I really enjoy going to workshops, teaching, and sharing that with all sorts of people. This award is actually giving more energy to continue my work on electroless nickel boron, but also to shape the next generation's mind, because I think in these times where the world is changing so fast, nobody could have guessed 6 months ago where we would be today and how today would work. And that tells me that we really need engineers that know their stuff, that know the science. And this is what I would like to go with my work from now on. Thank you very much, ASM International.
It is a great honor to receive the Distinguished Life Member Award, as I am only the second non-company executive to receive the award. In 2018, Michael Ashby, a retired professor at the University of Cambridge, was the first, and there appears to be no recipient in 2019. As I am back to work now at Buehler Limited, it is nice to know that the founder of Buehler, Adolf I. Buehler, received this award in 1966. I was fortunate to meet him at one of the first annual meetings of the International Metallographic Society around 1974. Many of our listeners are familiar with some of my publications and seminars that I have performed over my 53-year career as a metallurgist. I have 447 publications, and I'm not author number 6 or 7, including my book Metallography, Principles and Practice, published by McGraw-Hill in 1984, and then by ASM International in 1999. I have 31 articles in the ASM Metals Handbook series, and I was the editor for the 2004 upgrade revision of Volume 9, Metallography and Microstructures. I've also created 8 new ASTM standard test methods. I've done 87 ASM MEI courses, 1 week each, plus 109 for Buehler, and 81 for most other variety of organizations, for a total of 276. I joined ASM when I was a student at Drexel Institute of Technology in 1966. That was 54 years ago, making me a life member. I started the Technical Books Committee with Steve Lampman of ASM, and I'm still a member. I've had the honor to present 457 lectures in 42 countries, and I have lectured 84 times at 52 ASM chapters and at 74 universities. I've done a lot of failure analysis work in my career, some of them involving litigations, which I've never lost one, and I don't lie on the earth. The one was on the study of the 3 Mile Island Unit 2 nuclear reactor that failed in 1979 to determine how hot the lower head got in the accident. And the other was involved the World Trade Center buildings, one material from building 1 or 2, because you couldn't discriminate between them the way the debris fell, and building 7 of the World Trade Center. And they found holes right through the walls of the steel, and I was asked to determine how that happened, because the jet aviation fuel can't exceed 1100 centigrade, but the melting point of the steel is above 1500 centigrade. So I wish all of you great success in your careers. Thank you very much. Take care.
I am honored and pleased to receive this award. I thank my wife, Marty, and my family for their support and for understanding the time that I devoted to metallurgy and materials over the years. I regard the award as also recognizing the many contributions of my colleagues and my students, which continue today. I'm grateful for the support by ASM throughout my career. I was lucky, actually, to have been steered into metallurgical engineering by a high school physics teacher when I had no idea about what career to pursue, and to have been encouraged to enter academia by my thesis advisor, Marshall Pound. Both choices that I have been very grateful for and have enjoyed throughout my career. Thanks again.